Janelle, you ready? The Columbus City Council meeting for October 19th, 2020 will now come to order. In compliance with the Open Meeting Act, Nebraska Revised Statute 84-1407, a current copy of this act is posted in the meeting room. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll? Here.
Augustine Schulte. Here. Barr.
Here.
Hemer.
Here.
Jablonski.
Here.
Kreshaw.
Here.
Lohr.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
Mayor Bulkley, the roll has been called.
Thank you. Mr. Council President.
Our Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens. Please give us your wisdom and guidance to make the proper decisions entrusted to this governmental body. May our conduct show respect, honor, and courtesy to each other, as well as to all our citizens. Amen. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars to the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. If at any time during our meeting this evening, anyone in our audience would like to address the council with any item on our agenda, we'd ask that you please come forward, give your name and address, and we'd ask that you keep any comments to 5 minutes or less. With that, we will move on and start with the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that item 4B be removed from the consent agenda.
We need a
Give me a second.
I do.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to remove item 4B for explanation. That is because we have been informed that this individual who wanted and was willing to be reappointed is not able to based on state statute because he no longer lives in the city. He's no longer a city resident. So we will have a new appointee hopefully by our next meeting. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
I got an eye.
Okay.
I'm going to say maybe he's not going to get reappointed. Yeah.
My screen just went
There you go.
blurry.
Motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, I would make the motion to remove the same item from the regular agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to remove from the regular agenda. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye again.
Okay, so much for housekeeping.
The
Consent
following
agenda.
items are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a city council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent status and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 4A, minutes of the October 5th, 2020 city council meeting. Item 4C, resolution number R20-107, approving the direct homebuyer assistance program guidelines for community development block grant 20-TFHP-17006. Item 4D, resolution number R20-108, authorizing payment of various improvement projects. Item 4E, Finance Department reports, and item 4F, payroll and bills on file. Mr. Mayor and Council, do any of you have any comments or any wish to remove anything else from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the items on the consent agenda being routine in nature be approved as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to special presentations.
Item 6A, proclamation declaring the week of November 1st, 2020 as Extra Mile Day.
I have a proclamation this evening I'd like to read, and I think it really speaks to so many citizens that we have here in our community. Whereas Columbus, Nebraska is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism, and service. And whereas Columbus, Nebraska is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, family, friends, and community. And whereas Columbus, Nebraska is a community which chooses to shine a light on and celebrate individuals and organizations within its community who go the extra mile in order to make a difference and lift up fellow members of their community. And whereas Columbus, Nebraska acknowledges the mission of Extra Mile America to create 500 Extra Mile cities in America and is proud to sponsor Extra Mile Day on November 1, 2020. Now I therefore, James B. Bulkley, the mayor of the city of Columbus, do hereby proclaim the week of November 1, 2020 as Extra Mile Day. Thank you.
Item 6B, presentation of Northeast Nebraska Economic Development District Outstanding Service Award to John Lohr.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Tom Higginbotham. I'm the Executive Director of the Northeast Nebraska Economic Development District, the 16-county region that serves Northeast Nebraska. Every year, we celebrate our accomplishments for our 16-county region with the celebration of grants and loans that have come into our region. And I think you've all gotten our annual report. We're a little, obviously with the COVID-19, we're just a little different year. We were unable to hold our regular annual meeting to where we give our awards out for Accomplished Community Award, a business loan and housing, and our Outstanding Service Award. But last year alone, we, in the celebration, there was over $10 million in grants and loans that came into our region. 223 jobs were created or retained, and about 60 housing units were assisted. With that being said, staff and we decided John Lohr was leaving our board, so we were going to give him the Outstanding Service Award for the 1920 year. John's been on our board, on both of our boards, the Economic Development District and the
Probably too long.
Oh, no, never. Since 2004, so if that's too long. So, but yeah, he's been on the board since 2004, and he's kind of, he's played an integral role in everything that we have done over the last 15 years that he's been on the board. His passion for community and economic development is a step above a lot of people. He has a real good passion. He's pushed the staff and the other board members over the last 15 years, to move forward and to get things done and be progressive. So it's very rewarding to us that we present this award to John Lohr, especially here in his hometown at a city council meeting. And he was the president of our nonprofit the last 3 years. So we're giving that to this Outstanding Service Award based on that. And it just so happens the outgoing president or board chairman of the Economic Development District who presents this award just happens to be Mr. Rich Jablonski, who was our board chairman last year. So with that, I would like to present this award to John Lohr. And if possible, just take a few minutes to get a picture in Mr. Jablonski. And I do have Tina Engelbart here. She's our deputy director. So this year we're going around presenting the awards to our folks since we couldn't have an in-person meeting. So.
Okay, right over here. Got it.
Good job.
Good job, John.
I would ask John if he wanted to say something, but I think we all know John well enough to know that he will.
It has been a real pleasure on my part to serve on the boards, both of them. And this is a go-on organization, let me tell you. Over the past 10 years, just the last 10 years, Columbus has received over $7 million in grants going to housing, going to infrastructure, going to business startups, business expansions. The district walks the walk. They don't just talk the talk, they are economic development in northeast Nebraska, and I was very fortunate to have been a very small part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for your time and your energies into that. Appreciate it. That brings us up to reports of council committees.
Item 10A, Committee of the Whole, October 19th, 2020. Item 10A1, request of the Columbus Golf Association to discuss the future of Vanberg Golf Course. The Board of Park Commissioners voted to support the Columbus Golf Association's request that the City Council keep Vanberg Golf Course in operation as a golf course for a period of 5 to 10 years so the association can demonstrate the value of the course to the community. The Committee of the Whole recommends to the Mayor and Council to affirm that the property presently owned by the City of Columbus and known as the Vanberg Golf Course is intended to remain in use as a golf course by the City of Columbus, Nebraska, at least until after the City and the Columbus Golf Association have completed a joint evaluation of public golf in the city and after Quail Run Golf Course is operational as an 18-hole venue and after the Vanberg Family Golf Learning Center is established for a period of time sufficient to measure its value to the community.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this committee report. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would move to amend the report to strike the words joint evaluation by the Columbus Golf Association such that the city performs the evaluation.
Well, I guess the way I read that, we're asking for their input from their group, which is actively involved in it on a daily basis, a
You
monthly
can
basis.
certainly ask for their input, but I don't think it's appropriate that it be a joint evaluation.
Mayor, in his opening comments, said he thought maybe we'd have a private person evaluate it, so I don't know what.
Well, I would anticipate that the city would contract for such an evaluation by a professional.
Well, we have a motion in front of us.
I'm good with my motion.
We have a motion, we've had a request to amend the motion. Is there a second to amend the motion? If there is no second to amend your request would die.
So be it. And we vote.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to new business.
Item 13A, South Mobility Study Final Report provided by HDR Engineering.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the South Mobility Study be accepted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the South Mobility Study as provided by HDR Engineering. Any discussion? This would be the adoption of the report we reviewed at our
Right,
committee of the whole
you received a
2 weeks ago.
presentation a few weeks ago from
Okay.
HDR,
Yeah.
and this isn't nailing down any of the final deliverables, it's just accepting the report. So at a later time, we'll decide for certain what exactly we want to do out of the report.
All right, we have a motion. Yes, sir.
Tara, there were multiple things that were put down, or options.
Yes.
And I think if we did all the options in 1 year, it'd probably break the bank. But is the plan basically to look at those options and decide what would give us the biggest bang for the buck, and then little by little, do all of them, but it might be a 10, 15-year period before all of them are done?
Right. Well, we can't do all of them because they're different alternatives.
Yeah, I understand,
Right.
yeah.
But yes, I think at our next budget planning session, that would be a topic
Okay.
of discussion.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13B, appointment of Mark Bierman to the Board of Adjustment to fill the unexpired term of Ed Wagner.
Council members, with your permission, the mayor wishes to appoint Mark Bierman to the Board of Adjustment to fill an expired term until May of 2023. Mark Bierman is a lifelong Columbus resident. He received both his bachelor's degree and his master's degree in engineering from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Mark is a licensed professional engineer with over 30 years of experience in the construction and engineering field. He is co-owner of a local family-owned business, Bierman Contracting, for almost 20 years. Mark is active in the community. He's been a Commodore with the local Chamber of Commerce for 3 years. He is past president of the St. Anthony School Board and current president of St. Anthony's Parish Council. Mark is a Eucharistic minister with St. Anthony's and a member of the Knights of Columbus. Mark would like to become more involved in the civic level and would be honored to serve on the Board of Adjustments. We need a motion and a second.
I move the appointment of Mark Bierman to the Board of Adjustment be ratified.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to ratify. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13C, appointment and swearing in of Aaron Perez as firefighter, EMT, and hazmat tech.
You know, Charlie, before you read, something I've thought of, and we have Aaron in the audience today, if he'd like to come forward and introduce himself, and then let us read your fine statement to welcome him to our department and our community.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Aaron Perez Fuerte, and thank you everybody for being here. Thanks to my family, fire chief, and everybody here for being here.
Well, with your permission, council members, the mayor wishes to submit the name of Aaron Perez for appointment to a position of firefighter, EMT, and hazmat tech. Per the council rules, the 2-week rating period is waived for an appointment of a paid firefighter. Mr. Perez was certified for firefighter, EMT, and hazmat tech by the Civil Service Commission at their meeting held June 9th, 2020. Aaron Perez lives in Columbus and is currently employed as a welder at Lindsay Manufacturing. He's a graduate of Columbus High School and has completed coursework at Central Community College, Columbus, and at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. He has been a Columbus volunteer firefighter since January of 2019. Aaron has earned his Firefighter 1 and Hazmat Operations certifications. We need a motion and a second.
Mayor, recommend the appointment of Aaron Perez as firefighter, EMT, hazmat tech be ratified.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to ratify. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chief, do you have anything you'd like to say?
We'll swear him in next time. We don't have the language with us today, but Aaron is another member that has come through the Volunteer Academy. He came through the Volunteer Academy in 2018, and he's been a very dedicated member, and we're glad to welcome him aboard. And this will be the 5th appointment in the last 2 years from the volunteers, and it's been a good workforce development tool.
Awesome.
Very good.
Thank you, Chief.
Congratulations.
Item 13D, comments from the mayor and city council members. In compliance with the Open Meetings Act, no discussion can be held on this item.
Any council members have any comments this evening? Yes, sir.
I do. We had a situation that came up where we tried to make an appointment of a person to a committee and found out that he didn't live in the community, which was unfortunate. But I think what's more important with that is that our pool of people need to be heard. You need to step up and let the mayor know or Tara know if you have an interest in serving on these committees. The committees are a great place to start if you're really interested in politics and get your feet wet and see how everything works. I mean, stuff just doesn't happen overnight. We need these committees to help us make good decisions, and the staff, and we're always looking for really good people. Very impressed that we had some people step up for the elections this year too, and I think these are just little steps of showing that you're really concerned about your community and want to see your community grow in a better place. So I strongly recommend anybody that has any interest in volunteering their time. I don't think they'll regret it at all. I don't think anything they do is impeachable, so it's a good start to a good career. So thank you.
Excellent comments, and we do keep a running book of candidates that are interested. So when we do have an opening, we try to go to that book. But as Rich has mentioned, it's dwindling. We need people to step forward. I just had a couple of comments. One relates, I guess, really to the fire department. You know, this weekend we had a terrible tragedy here in town, and I think we sometimes take for granted our first responders. You know, they can't always get there in time and save somebody, and that was a tragedy. But it probably also relates to making sure everybody go home and check their batteries and their smoke detectors. And just remember, these people, our firemen and our police, are here to serve and protect, and they do a darn good job of it. So we thank you for what you all do. Appreciate it. Second thing I wanted to comment on is the wearing of masks and trying to stay vigilant as we try to move through this COVID-19 situation. Everybody knows it's rearing its head again, and it's coming around, and our area is getting hit pretty well. East Central District will be out tomorrow with a recommendation that's coming from the four county area. All the hospitals, all the doctors are signing off on it. We are signing off on it, encouraging people to do those steps that have been laid out. Wear the mask, try to avoid the crowded areas, try to wash your hands. We do not want to let our guard down. It seems simple, and it seems maybe it's redundant, but it's what we've got to do. I got a call today because the governor's come out with a little bit of, he tightened his restrictions on the state. So I had a call from a couple of establishments wanting to know. And, they weren't real excited, but I said, hey, be excited, because the alternative is where we were in March and April, and none of us want to go there. So we've got to try to take some personal responsibility and try to be vigilant about what we do and how we do it. So much for my speech. Thank you. We'll go on to consideration of payroll and bills on file.
Perfect.
Item 18A, ARL Credit Services.
Mr. Mayor, I ask to be excused from voting on this agenda item because I am owner of ARL Credit Services and therefore have a conflict of interest.
I've always wanted to say no.
Mr. Mayor, I move that Councilmember Jablonski be allowed to abstain from voting on this agenda item and to suspend the city council rules requiring him to leave the council chambers during the discussion and vote on this agenda item.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, I move the bill from ARL Credit Services be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bill from ARL Credit Services. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.
See how quickly he's paying my bill. He wants a ride home.